Today I'm talking about a powerful cartel that impacts every American in some way, shape, or form. No, I'm not talking about illegal drugs. What I'm talking about is the cartel that fixes oil prices and supplies. If you think gas prices have normalized, well, think again. Thanks to the OPEC Plus cartel, oil global production has now been cut. This means that gas prices will spike up again. Today, I'll explain why OPEC Plus is cutting production and why this might be the tipping point that pushes the global economy into a recession and what this means for you. OPEC stands for Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries. It's a cartel made up of 13 countries that export oil. They meet regularly to decide and coordinate how much crude oil to sell in the world market and at what price. Put simply, it's like legalized price fixing. OPEC controls a sizable chunk of the global oil supply, just around 40% of the whole world's crude oil, in fact. The biggest oil-producing member of the cartel by far is Saudi Arabia. As a nation, they produce a whopping 10 million barrels of oil each day. The cartel was initially formed some 60 years ago. Originally, there were 5 founding countries: Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and Venezuela. It grew over the years, and back in 2016, OPEC joined 10 other oil producers to form OPEC Plus. Recently, OPEC Plus has been in the headlines more than ever. That's because OPEC and allies agreed to cut global oil production levels by 2 million barrels a day. That comes out to about 2% of the global oil supply. Well, 2% may not sound like a big percentage. Trust me, it is. And the price for a barrel of oil can raise to $100 per barrel by December. This cut is much larger than analysts expected. This is the biggest cut since 2020. Back in 2020, it cut global oil production by more than 9 million barrels a day due to the ongoing pandemic. So, here's how things will likely spell out. Higher gas prices will add to the inflation troubles we already have. Pretty much inflation will get worse. Feds will keep increasing interest rates to try to tame the economy. And very soon we will enter a recession. Not just us, but the whole wide world. Current price volatility goes back to Russia's war with Ukraine. When Russia invaded Ukraine, the U.S. issued sanctions after sanction against Russia. This meant less Russian oil imports, which facilitated gas price hikes. Here's the interesting thing, though. While the West shunned Russian oil, customers in India and China have been buying Russian barrels at a steep discount, in fact. Russia was able to reroute 2/3 of its typical Western sales to India and China. So actually, Russia's hit to supply due to sanction wasn't as bad as many expected. Now, while the U.S. and U.K. have banned Russian oil, there's no one's pressuring the European Union to ban it too. Reason why is because EU countries have a quarter of their oil from Russia. So that's not a quick change that the EU countries can implement instantaneously without hurting their own people. In the end, though, the 27-nation bloc decided to cut off Russian oil that comes by ship by December 5th. At the same time, they'll keep a small amount of pipeline supplies that some Eastern European countries rely on from Russia. Also, the U.S. and G7 democracies are working out a price cap on Russian oil. Now, the recent announcement from OPEC Plus has its members scrambling to reduce their oil production, but one member country is not. And that's Russia. Despite these cuts, Russia won't have to reduce a single barrel of output. That's because they're already well below the agreed target. On top of that, they'll also benefit from higher oil prices, which will be achieved. That said, Russia will have to accept a bigger discount on the oil it sells to Asia. But that's really where the bad news ends for Russia. These global production cuts mean higher revenue for Russia overall. And no doubt, we can assume it'll go to support the war in Ukraine. And that's why the U.S. feels that OPEC countries, especially Saudi Arabia, are aligning themselves with Russia. The thing you gotta understand about OPEC Plus is that they have power, a lot of it. And so even minor actions they take can have a much bigger impact on the world scene than you might think. And here's how it works. OPEC Plus oil supply cuts will bring about higher gas prices, which can tip the world into a recession. We're already on the brink of a recession, and this might just be what tips us over. That's why the Western governments are furious. It's not just about lower supplies or higher prices. The action increases energy security risks worldwide. The reason OPEC Plus decreases and increases oil production in general all comes down to that core idea of balancing out the market. The cartel says this recent cut will prevent erratic price swings and therefore help keep the market stable. Basically, the cartel says it's just being proactive and adjusting the supply ahead of a possible downturn in demand due to the slowing global economy. Now, OPEC's idea might sound valiant in theory, but each balancing cut comes with its own negatives, like spiking gas prices. For example, just 1 week after OPEC Plus announced the cuts, gasoline prices prices here in the U.S. jumped over 3%. At the pump, the average price spiked from $3.80 to $3.92. But it's not all bad news for every state. While gas prices are expected to keep rising across the nation, prices in the West Coast, Great Lakes, and Plains are not. Current issues with refineries in these areas have led to price increases already. But once these issues get fixed, gas prices are expected to go down at least in these areas. But with the recent OPEC Plus production cut, prices might not go down as much as otherwise could have. So pretty much all Americans will feel the impact by 10 to 30 cents a gallon. OPEC is by no means a new cartel. When OPEC was originally formed in 1960, its original headquarters was in Geneva, Switzerland. But 5 years later, in 1965, it relocated its headquarters to Vienna, Austria. Before the cartel existed, the international oil market was dominated by the so-called Seven Sisters. Believe it or not, 5 of these sisters were American oil companies. This included the Standard Oil Company, Scotty Vacuum Oil Company, the Standard Oil Company of California, the Texas Company, and the Gulf Oil Company. The other two non-American members of the Seven Sisters were the Anglo-Persian Oil Company and the Royal Dutch Shell Group. But then came OPEC, and it has its own plans. Instead of having one company compete in the industry, OPEC wanted all countries to have permanent control over their natural resources to help with national development. So in 1968, it adopted the Declaratory Statement of Petroleum Policy in member countries. By the following year, OPEC already had 10 members, but they were just getting started. Then came the 1970s. That's when OPEC really took off in the international oil scene. The 10 OPEC members started to have bigger roles in the industry. Other countries started to become dependent on them. It was starting to have a more global impact. And in 1975, OPEC decided to take it a step further. There was a summit that called for countries to cooperate in international relations to help poorer nations. In response, OPEC decided to establish the OPEC Fund for International Development. Then came the 1980s. In the early 80s, energy and oil demand were down. And by 1986, the market crashed completely. And OPEC was hit hard. Its share of the smaller oil market saw a major drop. And so did their crude oil revenue. And remember, OPEC wasn't just a company, it was a cartel with many participating countries. So when OPEC's revenue dropped, so did the revenue of many of its countries. And that caused mass economic instability in those areas. By the end of the 1980s, things started to return to somewhat normal, and so did OPEC. After the market crash, OPEC and the international energy industry as a whole decided to introduce a new issue to their agenda: the environment. By the time the 1990s hit, the world oil scene had changed completely. The Soviet Union collapsed on December 26, 1991. While the oil market was shaken for a time, by the late 90s, the entire oil market started to focus on globalization and other trends. By the 2000s, OPEC continued to try to stabilize the global oil market. From 2003 to 2008, OPEC's spare production levels were low. It started to limit the ability to respond to demand and price increases. By 2008, the global financial sector had collapsed and a global economic recession set in. And so, OPEC ran to the forefront of the oil sector and tried its best to help with the ongoing economic crisis. OPEC's second and third summits in Caracas and Riyadh in 2000 and 2007 were able to reestablish somewhat stable energy markets across the globe. The 2010s came in hard with escalated social unrest, financial anxiety, and oil market instability. Everything was relatively stable in the oil market from 11 to 14, but then trade patterns shifted and global oil demand grew, especially in Asia. And so in 2015, the Paris Agreement was created, and it was signed by all member countries of OPEC. Throughout the decade, OPEC's role in the oil market continued to grow and gain further recognition. And then came 2020. The 1 year changed the world in more ways than one. Brexit took effect. Pandemic hit the world. Global social and economic disruption came. Worldwide lockdowns. The international oil market got hit hard. Now we're finally pulling out of the pandemic, it seems, and the world has been trying to get back to normal as we used to know it. Recent actions by OPEC Plus have caused anything but stability. So, what does all this mean for the future of OPEC Plus and the U.S.? Well, higher oil prices will mean the global inflation won't go away anytime soon. OPEC's move has put a huge strain between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia. The word on the street is that U.S. officials tried to quietly persuade Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman to go against the OPEC production cut. But the world saw he didn't budge. Some people note that apparently, after the 2018 death of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi, Prince bin Salman and President Biden clashed during Biden's visit to Jeddah back in July. You see, the U.S. intelligence claimed that Prince bin Salman approved the operation to capture and in effect kill Khashoggi. While the prince did deny ordering the brutal murder, he did say it took place under his watch, whatever that means. Reports say that during his July visit, Biden told the prince that he thought he was responsible. Anyway, right now the tensions between the U.S. and OPEC member Saudi Arabia are higher than ever. A few weeks ago, President Biden announced he would launch a complete review of the U.S. relationship with Saudi Arabia due to OPEC's production cut announcement. announcement. And only a day before that, the chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, Senator Bob Menendez, said that the U.S. should immediately freeze all aspects of their cooperation with Saudi Arabia, and that would include arms sales. Karine Jean-Pierre, White House press secretary, confirmed that this review will be coming. No actual dates are given, but she did say that the U.S. will be monitoring the situation closely over the coming weeks and months. Some experts believe that the recent OPEC Plus decision was purely economic. Others say it was political. And of course, you have those who say it's both. Frankly, I think it is both, but you can judge for yourself. Here's the thing. To some analysts, it's not only the sheer size of the cut in oil production by OPEC Plus that brought the strain between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia. It was also the timing. The OPEC Plus decision came just ahead of U.S. midterm elections, and with gas prices higher than ever, voters could be swayed away from Biden. Other analysts say that OPEC Plus was all too happy to unanimously agree on this decision that could have major consequences to the U.S. But now you tell me, are you concerned about what these production cuts will mean for the U.S.? What's your doomsday prediction on gas prices? Please share by commenting below. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for your support.